ladies and gentlemen, now hosting the RizzoCast, put your hands together for Steven Risotto!
What is happening, everybody, and welcome back. This is episode number 119 of RizzoCast. I'm Steven Risotto, and today we're joined by a very special guest. He played in parts of 9 years in professional baseball from 2011 to 2019, 8 of them with the San Francisco Giants organization as a utility man, and he coached the last few years with the Atlanta Braves organization. Now he's looking for his next big adventure on the coaching side of things. It is Myles Schroder, and Myles joins the show. Myles, how you doing? Welcome.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I just want to say right off the bat, I went to a lot of those San Jose Giants games as a kid, and I vividly remember that 2013 season. And I love the car that would be rolling out where the players would have to break the headlights. And the beer batter they still had, and the mascot that was creepy and gave me nightmares. But I must say that your era of Giants baseball in the minor leagues is probably my favorite because you had some names. There was Brock Bond and Jeff Arnold and Josh Osich and Kelby Tomlinson and Mitch Delfino and Jose Casilla. I could name them all. That was like a great bunch of Giants minor leaguers. I mean, what do you think about that group? Just kind of looking back right off the bat here.
It was really a good group. I mean, you go out and you win every night. I mean, it's hard not to enjoy it, and everybody got along and everybody, pulled for each other and did what we needed to do to win. So it was nice.
And there's a lot going on in baseball right now too. I mean, of course, the postseason just concluded, and your team, the Braves, who you've been with the past few years, they were eliminated by the eventual NL champion Phillies. How locked in were you this postseason? What did you kind of have your eye on?
I had my eye on another ring. I mean, yeah. Nice to be able to get one and share it with the family, and was hoping for a second one, but we came up a little short, and we'll just see what happens, and hopefully I can get a couple more because I got 3 daughters. So I got one. I'm hoping to at least get a couple more so they can enjoy them with their family.
Hey, there you go. And I've always wondered this. So you're, obviously coaching at the minor league level with the Braves, and they win one in 2021. Does it have your name like printed on the side, like kind of the other rings do, like that the players and coaches at the big league level get, or is it a little bit different?
Yeah, ours isn't the caliber that theirs is, but it's still really nice ring, and I think I haven't even tried to open mine, but I don't think ours opens, or I didn't even take a chance to do anything with it. I just, showed everybody and took a picture with it, and then it went back in the box and gets put in the safe,
Yeah, I'm not taking that out either. Good call.
Yeah.
This is right out of the blue. Where's Aaron Judge signing? I guess that's the big story of the offseason.
I don't know. I mean, to get him in the Bay Area would be nice for him, that'd be big for them, and him especially. Getting back home, and I mean, everybody likes to play at home in front of friends and family, and but one way or the other, he'll get a nice contract and he'll help that team win.
And speaking of kind of being, playing at home, this is something that you kind of did, in your career, I guess, not exactly in the Bay Area, but, you were a Giants draft pick. I'm very fascinated by your career, Myles. I mean, there's a lot of variety with almost everything. I mean, you grew up in the East Bay and Pleasant Hill area. Was baseball kind of always the passion for you growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I did everything. Tried to play as much as I could and just stay outside, really. I mean, anything I could do to stay outside. And, I had friends around that we were able to go and play ball and basketball and football and, just be kids. And, I was pretty good at all of them, but you have one that kind of sticks out to you, and baseball was that. I just knew it was something I was going to do. And, anything I try to do the best, and, it ended up working out for me.
Did you get to catch much in high school? Because I was going down, your high school roster and everything, and I saw that you were teammates with Jason Castro at
Yeah.
Castro Valley High School. So I feel like you might have been blocked behind the plate there.
Oh yeah. Well, that was he was catching, and then Ryland Sandoval, who played in the Mets organization for a while, he was at shortstop. And then I went out to center field because I was in Sonora, California, and then I transferred back my senior year, and those guys were there 3 years already. So, to come in and take somebody's spot, and obviously they were doing it at a high level. I went out there and was just able to go run some balls down and help us win. And until we ran into Tyson Ross a couple times, but that's he had a good career, and if it wasn't for him, we'd have done a lot better too.
I feel like Tyson Ross is a guy that is like, he had a good big league career, but I feel like he's a guy you wouldn't want to run into in high school. And by the way, Jason just won a ring. He didn't finish the year, I don't think, with the Astros, but he was there at the beginning. So back to
Yeah,
back Castro Valley High School rings.
Yeah, that's nice for sure. Tyson Ross, he was pretty much the same pitcher in high school as he was in the big leagues,
Oh,
so it was
geez.
that. And obviously his brother, ended up coming in and doing a good job too for the Nats. And I'm not sure who he's with now. He might still be with them. But yeah, they put together some nice kids and, did well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And there are religious listeners of the show, and they know that I always bring up junior college a lot. And
Yeah.
you played and were drafted out of Diablo Valley College. And some guys choose junior college. Other guys, simply just don't have high school offers. I mean, which category would you fall into, and how did that kind of impact your work ethic? Because I always say that whenever I go to like a 4 year, like if I go to a Stanford game or a 4 year school, one of these big colleges, I could always point out that guy probably played JUCO first. That guy probably played JUCO because there's just like a grindiness about them. So I guess kind of what was that JUCO experience like, and did you have any offers coming out of high school?
Yeah, I mean, I not so much out of high school, but after my freshman year there, I had letters and all that stuff, but I wasn't really into the school part of it. I was just there to get drafted and get on with my career. So it's JUCO is a big thing if especially if people aren't into school and they're serious about playing at a high level and they want to go there. And it's just, if you want to go get the education and get the backup plan, and I mean there's a lot of stuff you can do and there's a lot of ways to go about it, but I was there to play baseball and that was it. So I've always done construction and worked for myself, so it was something that once my career ended, that was what I was going to do, the year that or coach. So I mean, it's just a different game of baseball. You're there and everybody's there to get a job, and college people are there, and a lot of D1 guys, if you're not a high guy, you might not go there and play, so if you want to go there and sit for a couple years or something, you can do that. But if you want to get drafted early and get your career early and prolong your career, because if you get in it at a young age, you have a lot more time ahead of you. That's the way to do it. But either way is good. Just all depends on the person and what kind of route they want to take.
Yeah, no doubt. And you were drafted by the Giants in the 27th round in 2007, but you didn't make your debut there until 2011. So I guess take me behind kind of the reasoning of maybe being around the game for that long, and I guess hometown kid and a lot of expectations, coming to San Francisco, and I guess there's a gap. So what was going on during that gap, and why was there a gap, I should ask?
Just life in general. I mean, I've always kind of taken care of myself, and when I got down there, and you're in a hotel room, and you're, back then, I mean, they got a little bit better life now, with the way they get paid, eat, and all that stuff. But it was just something, getting into that life, and I ended up making my decision early, and the Giants were huge. They offered to take care of whatever I needed to be done. And I just, I made my decision early, and I stuck with it. And, I just reached that point to where I was still young enough, and I never doubted my career. I just, it was just life. And I ended up doing that, going to work and just, doing the work side of it. And then I decided to come back, and, got lucky enough that they reinstated me, and, gave me another opportunity to come back and help the team win. And, I hope I did that over my career, so I'm very thankful, very thankful.
You mentioned something that kind of stuck out there. You mentioned the lifestyle of minor leaguers, I guess, and the bus rides, the eating out, the low pay. I mean, you saw this a decade ago. You're close to it now, the past few years. Is this a matter of like, if you don't like it, play better, or whether or not, more accommodations should be dealt with in the minor league level?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been that way. And they're getting treated the way everybody always wanted to get treated. So it's nice that they're doing that. And if you're, you want that, kind of JUCO mentality where you're hungry and all that stuff too. But I feel no matter how you treat them, they either have it or they don't. Whether they're eating good or whether they're eating bad. They either want to go out there and step between the lines or they don't. They either want a career or a job, is the way I put it. You want a job, you're not going to get anywhere. But if you want a career, then, you'll make something of it. So, I mean, we did fine and we got by. And, the guys nowadays, they're eating a lot better. They get paid better, but, I mean, they need it with the gas prices nowadays too, so, but, yeah, it's good for them. I mean, I'm glad things are going the way they are. And, it's nice to see these guys getting taken care of for sure.
Yeah, let's hope they could take like public transportation, I guess, nowadays too. A lot has changed. And the Giants were lucky enough to have a few guys kind of roaming through the minor league clubhouses when you were there. And I looked at your little resume thing, and I saw that you referenced Lee Smith and Will Clark, and I'm sure those two guys you spent a lot of time with. What can you remember about how they helped you in your career?
Just seeing the way they came in, and, just smiling and happy. And, Lee Smith throwing BP to us and talking mess to us the whole time. And, Will Clark coming in and teaching you stuff about hitting, or, sitting there throwing gum up into the stands, making the fans enjoy it. I mean, that's, I take a lot of pride in the way those guys went about their business. I mean, Will cutting his career early to go spend time with his son. And I mean, that's huge. I mean, you do it for your family, and that's what I've always done. Is I'm in the game to help my family, and, help these guys, especially just getting in, and whatever I can do to help them, help my family, and just, do both is what I try to do. So those guys, are just big, just helping me enjoy it. And I try to stay in contact with them as much as I can, just check in with them and see how everybody's doing. So,
Yeah, and Will, I've seen him a few times at the ballpark, but is he the same guy as like what he kind of comes off as, like from a public standpoint? Like, is he loud? Is he like, very high energy guy? We know about the voice and how it could get up there. I guess the notes go up a little bit with his voice. Is he the same guy that kind of what the public sees?
yeah, I mean, he's always been that guy. And I think that's what's good about those guys, especially with the Giants. They, I felt like there's no superstars ever with the Giants. Everybody's on the same level, no matter, you know, um, who you are really. I mean, Posey, you'll be hitting in the cage and he'll come in and introduce himself. It's, everybody's been that way, and the Giants got a good tradition. And, it speaks for the players that they've developed and the players that, want to come over there and play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you were a guy that played every position on the field during your career, and I was looking at it, and maybe some guys come up at a certain position and, other guys finish at a certain position. And yours was just so like perfectly portioned, all evenly. I was looking at it and I noticed that like, over 900 or over 500 innings at first, over 700 innings at second, over 1600 innings at third, over 800 innings at catcher, over 1,000 in center, over 600 in left. I mean, it's so over 300 in right, over 100 at short. It's so evenly divided. Um, so was that something that you embraced? Because I know a lot of guys don't like that. They want to stay in one place. But was that something that you kind of embraced during your career?
Yeah, I mean, I was a role player, and whatever the team needed to do, that was what I did. And it'd have been nice to stay in one spot or something and go beat somebody out. But I feel there's a lot of value there, and then teaching myself doing that, and then teaching myself how to switch it. I mean, it's just there wasn't anything I couldn't do on the field, and that was kind of my approach. I knew I could play everywhere, and if I could switch it, there wasn't anything on the field that I couldn't do, so that was just my mentality. Whatever I needed to do to help the team win, that was what I did. And whatever I need to do to support my family and take care of my family, that's what I've always done. So just whatever needs to be done, that's what I try to do.
And you've probably dealt with it now on the coaching side of it, but how important is it to, like what you just mentioned, know your role? Is that something that guys struggle with? Because, I guess there's a process of dealing with guys that maybe need a kick in the rear, or guys maybe that need a little bit more coddling. So from a coaching standpoint, how have you kind of noticed that communication of it?
Yeah, I mean, you learn everybody. I mean, we're with each other more than our families during the year,
Yeah.
so you learn a lot of people and their personality, what makes them click. And you try to get everybody on the right path, and try to help them on the field, off the field, whatever you can do. And just get everybody going in the right direction and enjoying the process. And just baseball, I mean, it's ups, it's downs, it's stuff off the field, how you bring it to the field, how you help somebody that's going through that stuff, when you're not doing well. If you're struggling, and then you're not helping somebody else out, then you're not getting anything out of it. So just there's a lot to be taught, and that's what I try to do, is just help these guys with the process of baseball and the process of life with baseball, and just how to be a good person.
And usually what happens, and I'm fascinated by the whole catching aspect of it, because catching, playing all those positions is one thing, but adding the catching element to it is just a whole different animal. And usually what happens is guys either focus on catching 100% in the minor leagues, or they slowly but surely kind of move off the position as they progress through. And you're kind of a rare case that you didn't do either. You kind of always had catching in your back pocket. Was that something that was kind of important to you? Because you had it from start to finish.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, I miss pitching, and that was my way to pitch. I always said, if they can hit their spots and hit the spot on whatever I called, we're going to dominate. And I wasn't the best catcher, all that stuff, but I like to. I was active, and just was an athlete, really. So you can impact a lot in the game there, and that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to help everybody and be a set of eyes for everybody, and give feedback. And just it's you either want to do it or you don't. And and that's kind of the way I always put catching, is you want it or you don't. You're going to get beat up, but if you can deal with it and want to help these guys, then you can do it. But if you're worried about all that stuff, or the day in, the day out, and I got to go catch, and get rained out, and you sit there for a while, got to run back out there. I mean, it's but it's enjoyable. You go out there and get to shake your pitcher's hand at the end of the game. I mean, that's what you do it for.
Who's the nastiest guy you ever caught? Nastiest pitcher? Who comes to mind? Pick from the buffet.
Yeah. I don't know who was the nastiest. Maybe Crick might be up there with when he was younger, just not knowing where it was going and, and tearing my thumb, you know. But it's you get some of those guys where they're wild and their sliders back up and this and that, and I wouldn't say I really have the nastiest pitcher, but Crick definitely wore me out a couple times.
Yeah, there's times where he was described as kind of the young Matt Cain, and I was always thinking, I was like, this guy is like way more like nothing on Cain. He had a great career, obviously one of the
Yeah,
cornerstones of that franchise, but Crick's stuff, man, was electric, and I think I think he finished with the White Sox this year, so
yeah,
good to see him going. But I
yeah,
mean, speaking of pitching, you pitched two professional games, and you have a 0 ERA through two
yeah.
and a third. What do you remember about those games?
I remember coming in AAA, whatever time, ended up punching out Neuenheis, and
Oh,
you know, just I always worked on it. I always threw bullpens or flats, and I mean, it's always been in my blood, and something I've always liked to do. So I always worked on it, and I worked on it because I was the way I was. If I came in, I wasn't going to come in and just lob the ball over. I was coming in to get my zero and get out of there. So I'm glad I escaped with the zero, and I take a lot of pride in that.
did you get a reading on the radar gun for that?
I'm not sure. It wasn't much. I didn't want to walk anybody,
Yeah.
but I threw my pitches and got out. So, I'm sure it wasn't much, but whatever it was, I got the job done. So,
Yeah, there you go. And that completed did that complete, your path to play every position? Was that the last one you needed?
yeah, I thought I was going to get it a lot earlier, and I'm glad I didn't. I would have liked to be a two-way guy, but I'm glad I didn't get put onto the bump, because if I got put onto the bump, that means I wasn't doing a good job at the other stuff. So, um, it was nice to do it, and it was nice to hang on to my zero.
Yeah, there you go. And there's plenty of guys that hop all over the diamond in today's game, and a lot of front offices value versatility and the ability to plug guys in wherever. And I know you did it, but do you like this trend in today's game, or do you feel like it's going to kind of start messing with guys if they're not a staple at one particular position?
I mean, it depends on the guys. I mean, there's a lot of value in it, and being able to move guys around, and there's not really a National League game anymore. So there's a little less value in it, I think. But being able to do it late in the game, being able to move some people around and bring in who you need to run, or somebody to come in and catch if you pinch run for a catcher. I mean, there's still a little bit of National League game there once you get towards the end of the game, but it all depends on the players, and they'll see it in the data and the way the guys react and the way their bodies react, and hopefully they do what's right, what's working.
Mm. Yeah, I had Xavier Scruggs on the podcast a while back, and he's now obviously an analyst with MLB Network. And I was looking at his baseball reference page, and I noticed that he had two like back-to-back monster years in Springfield, in Double A with the Cardinals. And I was asking him, I was joking around with him, I was like, did you ever get sick of Springfield? And I'm going to ask you the same question. When you retired as a player, did the thought ever bounce in your head like, Jesus, I don't have to ever step foot in Richmond, Virginia again? Or
Yeah,
because I mean, you spent a lot of time in Richmond. I'm sure that was like, there's a point there where you felt like maybe nothing was ever going to go forward from Richmond. So I guess, was that your first thought when you retired, was never again Richmond, Virginia? Or was it more like a positive experience?
yeah. I mean, I felt like that was the best baseball you were going to get.
Mm.
You got AAA guys. When you get up to AAA and all that, but I felt being in that league and the type of baseball and the type of guys you were running into day in, day out. I mean, that was, really good baseball. So it was all right. I mean, I accepted it and I went there, and I just couldn't get out of spring training healthy, so you go back to Richmond and you'll be there for a little while. And, I enjoyed it though. Parney, I mean, he does a great job there. Everybody does, get lots of fans, and it's not a good place to hit, but, it's a great atmosphere and they treat you well. And they do a good job over there, but I just went and tried to do the best I could. And, I was fortunate to have my family with me, and we were in like 3 different houses there in Richmond. So we had a good life there. And, we're very fortunate, and we went back there. It was what it was, because we were familiar with it, so you can get called up from there. Or, Trevor Brown ended up going from like San Jose to Sacramento to the big leagues in a year, so it doesn't matter where you're at. You just do your job, and hope you get the phone call.
Yeah, that's right. Trevor Brown, another guy from that era, and also Tyler Latorre. I've had him on the podcast. He's now a coach at Sacramento State. So
yeah, I want to say he might have been with USF or something before that, or
yeah.
Yeah, I need to text him and check in on him. I haven't talked to him for a little while.
Yeah, team Italy in the WBC one year. So shout out to Tyler Latorre. So you retire as a player. Why was coaching kind of automatically the next step for you?
Just pass along what I've learned, and playing every position my whole career. And I just felt like if I didn't coach, I'd be cheating everybody, so I want to pass along what I've learned, especially learning in the Giants organization and in the National League. You learn the game within the game, and that was, the game's a little bit different now. Not, just when it comes to plugging in stuff and the amount of data you get, but I want to pass along what I learned, and teach these guys how to play the game, and teach them the game within the game. And I'm glad I got the opportunity, and hopefully I'll get another opportunity with somebody else and help them win too.
And you're married, you got a family, you got a few little ones at home. And you were mentioning me before that, you're trying to avoid dog poop all the time and all this stuff. Maybe there's a feeling that they had where it's like, oh, okay, your career's over. The family just got you back. So was that a conversation that you had to have with them? Like, hey, look, I'm looking to continue this, and, we may end up, traveling and moving. Was that something, a conversation that you had to have?
Yeah. I was fortunate enough to get this job with the Braves. When I talked to a couple teams in 2020, and then the Giants ended up taking off from here. And I thought, if I can coach here with the Giants, that'd be perfect. Well, they ended up moving somewhere else, and the Braves took it over. Well, the Braves took it over and gave me the opportunity to coach from home, which is about 20 minutes from my house. So I was able to do that. And then last year was able to come back again. So I've been at home with my family the last couple of years. So, when that opportunity came across, they asked me, if I would like the job. And I said, yeah. And they were like, well, you don't need to talk to your wife. And I'm like, I'm home, so I don't need to ask her. We've been talking about it for years, thinking that, if I can coach from home, with the Giants, but ended up working out. I mean, being with the Braves. So, just very fortunate and glad to share that time with my family. And hopefully we'll see what happens this next year. And, maybe I'll get an opportunity to work close to home again. So.
Yeah, and how much has coaching changed since you first started playing? Because I know I guess there's a mentality. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, it seems. There's a lot more analytics involved, a lot more numbers with technology. I'm sure you've maybe been accustomed to TrackMan. That's been around for a little bit. Yeah, some of the other tools to calculate like swing stats and launch angle and exit velocity. Is that something that you feel like you're kind of well adjusted for?
Yeah, for sure. I was the old school type player, but at the same time, if it'd have been nice to have this stuff around when I was playing too. It's a bunch of tools you can have in your bag, and like you said, some guys who can handle information, who you need to keep the information away from, and it's I mean, the information's right there, so you know there's no lying in it. If somebody has a good exit velo but they're hitting a lot of ground balls, then you might switch up something with their swing, and to be able to get the ball in the air a little more. I mean, just it's there and it's nice to have, and you just you get what you can out of it, and just use it to the best of your ability and the best to help these guys, in their careers too. So it's nice to have. It's not a lot different, but I think you get to look into the numbers a lot instead of just watching video trying to figure it out. Now you get to plug in the two, and you get to do a lot of stuff with it now, so it's nice.
Yeah, and one of the trends that we keep seeing is older managers getting another shot, kind of running teams, and Dusty Baker's the prime example, obviously winning a championship there with Houston. But Bruce Bochy's back in Texas, and Buck Showalter's in New York, and yeah, a lot of baseball people describe those guys as being great communicators.
Yeah.
How important is communicating with your players, and knowing how they feel on a particular day, and knowing what position that they could be put in that could benefit them. So how important is that communication aspect?
It's huge. I mean, you get a lot of young guys that come in, and they're good with the numbers, but then there's ways to relate, and if you can get people like the old school people that know about the players and how to communicate with the players and how to go about the game and the feel of the game and stuff like that, and then who also understand the numbers, I mean, that's where I think these guys come in. I mean, the other thing is you have a lot more people on staff nowadays too, so they're able to collaborate and figure out the best way to approach these guys and get the best out of these guys. So it's nice, and it's nice to see those guys back, and it was nice to see Dusty put a ring on his finger. So very happy for him, and especially Bochy going to Texas. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be bummed out. There's good fishing out there too, but he, it'll be good for him.
Yeah, it's an indoor stadium, so hopefully he finds his way somewhere where he could, find a good fishing spot over there. You're right. And a lot of guys hold that traditional title in coaching, manager, hitting coach, pitching coach. The past few years with the Braves, you've just been, coach. So I guess almost like kind of a utility guy.
Yeah.
You're showing up to the ballpark, not really knowing what you're going to be doing that day. Do you kind of enjoy that unpredictability of coaching, not knowing if you're going to work with a guy on his base running or be in the cage with a guy or coaching third, coaching first? Do you like that kind of mysterious aspect to it?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's got a job. So, I mean, it's, everybody has a role. I have my roles too, but I just wanted something where I can work with everybody and, not just sit there and look at the swings every day, but I had, depends last year, this year, I had the infielders, the catchers, help with base running, help with the outfield, just, be a bench coach and just be a set of eyes for everybody and just try to help everybody as much as you can. But it all depends on the staff you have. And this year we had a infield manager, so he was able to do a lot of the infield stuff. And so, I mean, it all depends on the staff, but I like being able to work with everybody. And that was something I wanted to do. I wanted to either be, a bench coach or be a manager. So I think doing that, you get to look at the game differently and get to look at all aspects instead of just sitting there, with a chart and watching the swings and stuff, which I'm not opposed to that either. But, if I had my choice, it would be bench coach or manage, because I feel I get to impact a lot of people instead of just, sticking in that lane, so
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
it.
Did you have Vaughn Grissom at one point?
Yeah, we had him last year, and I mean, great person, great guy, just came to the ballpark and enjoyed it, and just got after it and competed and had fun doing it. And he'll keep doing that, and he'll be successful, just as he has so far. I mean, he'll do well for a long time. He'll play for a long time.
Jeez, I mean, the Braves just like spit out talent. I mean, they just spit him out and they lock him up. Like that's like the procedure. Spencer Strider comes into the big leagues, performs, gets paid. Acuna, Albies. I mean, Riley. They have so much. They have such a good core of young players. And before we wrap up here, I want to kind of quiz you a little bit here, so don't be scared. But I'm going to show you three guys, a picture of three different players that you played with, and you're going to have to tell me who they are. So it's gonna be like a name game, okay? So I'm gonna show you three guys. It won't be too hard because I have faith that you'll know these guys. I've played this with a few guys in the past, and some guys have gone 0 for 3, some guys have gone 1 for 3, some guys have gotten them all. So
That's pretty bad if you go over 3, huh?
yeah, no, that's pretty bad. You're gonna be getting some phone calls if you go 0 for 3. So I picked some guys that perform pretty well. None of these guys made it to the big leagues, so I'm gonna make it a little harder than because I mean, if you see a picture of like freaking Kelby Tomlinson, you're gonna know who that is. I mean, come on. So
for sure.
all right, so here's the first one. This guy I think is very and maybe tell me a few tidbits about who it is too, and what you remember from them. So here's the first guy. Who is this?
Oh yeah, that's Devin Harris.
Devin Harris. What do you remember about him?
Great person, and great player too. He ended up getting hurt, and that was the end of his career. When he went over, he got Rule 5 to Arizona and ended up getting hurt in spring training. But he and his wife and his daughter, and they might have just had another one. I hadn't talked to him for a little while either. I need to check in with him, but yeah, great person inside and out. I mean, love the guy big time.
Yeah, he could hit. Like I remember him like he was like the 3-4 combo in San Jose with Mac Williamson, and they both had like monster years, and Williamson had like 25 homers or something like that, and Harris was in the 20s too. All right, so we got you're so far 1 for 1. All right, next guy. Who is this?
Oh yeah, Ricky
Oropesa, first baseman. What do you remember about him?
Yeah, he just had a son too. Just another great guy. I mean, everybody I played with was great people, but I mean, had a good career too, and did well. Just ended up coming up a little short, but that's baseball, and sometimes you don't get the call, and but I want to say he's doing the real estate thing in California, Southern California, and enjoying time with his family. So gets to go home to his family every night, and that's what it's all about.
Is that what like 75% of like former pro players do, is go into real estate? I feel like it is.
They might. I mean, it's something you get to work for yourself, and I feel a lot of companies they hunt athletes because athletes know how to put the work in, and they take pride in their work. And, they soak in a lot of information. So to get an athlete on your staff and any company, I mean, it's definitely beneficial for sure.
Yeah, I'd buy a house from Ricky Oropesa any day. All right, final one. You're 2 for 2. Let's see if you could sweep here. Who is this? Oh, we got a tough one.
I'm drawing a blank. Gosh, super sinker too. Loved wrestling, like WWF wrestling type stuff.
Should I give you his first name? Or is that too much?
Yeah.
Jack.
I have his last name. If I clicked over into my phone, I'd have it.
Jack Snod.
Yeah, Snodgrass.
There you go.
He was all-star too. He did really well. It was nice catching him too. Just throw that sinker and get ground balls, and Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing.
He's a stand-up comedian.
Is he? He was always cracking jokes and all that stuff too, but I know he was looking into the wrestling thing for a while, um, but I wasn't sure. Uh, I hadn't kept up with him or anything, but I try to keep up with everybody. But sometimes, obviously, I fall a little short. But um, great person, and being a stand-up comedian, I could definitely see that for sure.
Yeah, I'll give you half points for that one because you did get the UFC thing. When I was trying to track down to where he is now, I saw that he was on a podcast actually, and one of the things they talked to him about was UFC. I was like, well, why
Yeah.
are they talking to Jack Snodgrass about UFC? But he's a stand-up comedian, so I guess maybe if a team doesn't call this winter for you to coach, I mean that's a pretty good alternative is go join him up on stage.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'm glad he's doing well for sure, especially doing the comedian thing. He was always cracking jokes and just had that sense of humor, you know.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Myles, man, I appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun and cool to get to hear your story and to get to hear kind of your and hopefully, man, hopefully a team calls and you get a good coaching gig in the come springtime. So thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and have a good holiday season, and best of luck to everybody.
Yeah, watch your step in the house, man. We don't want it. We don't want you to step in anything, outlandish
Yeah,
over there.
that was tracking into the house from outside, so we got a lot of property, so the dogs just go wherever they want, and they usually stay out there. But I have a 16-year-old dog, and she kind of just goes out and she goes wherever she wants now. So sometimes you run into it, and that was one of the days, But I just hope to get to have her, for a lot longer if I can. So
Yeah. Hey man, shit happens if
yeah,
no pun intended. So, all right, you guys can follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at RizzoCast. Um, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you find your podcast. And we will see you next time. More to come.